The second attempt.
Jeszcze Polska nie zginęła, kiedy my żyjemy. Co nam obca przemoc wzięła, szablą odbierzemy. Marsz, marsz Dąbrowski, z ziemi włoskiej do Polski. Za twoim przewodem złączę się z narodem. Marsz, marsz Dąbrowski, z ziemi włoskiej do Polski. Za złączym się z narodem. Przejdziem Wisłę, przejdziem Wartę, będziem Polakami. Dał nam przykład Bonaparte, jak zwyciężać mamy. Marsz, marsz Dąbrowski, z ziemi włoskiej do Polski. Za twoim przewodem złączym się z narodem. Marsz, marsz Dąbrowski, z ziemi włoskiej do Polski. Za twoim przewodem złączym się z narodem.
Dziękuję bardzo.
Thank you very much. Could you please take your seats? Ladies and gentlemen, I hereby have the pleasure to open the ceremonial sitting of the Senate of the Łódź University of Technology on the occasion of awarding the title of Doctor Honoris Causa of the Łódź University of Technology to Mrs. Roberta Metsola, President of the European Parliament. On behalf of the Senate and all those present here, I'd like to welcome Mrs. Roberta Metsola and members of the delegation that accompany Madam President. Matthew Tabon, Head of the Cabinet of the President of European Parliament. Yuri Las and Sylwia Kosińska, members of the cabinet. Witold Naturski, head of European Parliament office in Poland. Once again, a warm welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, because of the number of the guests who have joined us on this occasion, I would like to welcome guests attending today's ceremony. Dariusz Joński, member of the European Parliament. Michał Wawrykiewicz, member of the European Parliament. Ewa Szymanowska, member of the Polish Parliament. Agnieszka Wojciechowska-van Heukelom, member of the Polish Parliament. Krzysztof Kwiatkowski, the senator of the Polish Parliament. Dorota Ryl, governor of the Łódź region. Małgorzata Moskwa-Wodnicka, deputy mayor of Łódź. Małgorzata Grabarczyk, president of the Parliament of the Łódź region. Janusz Brzozowski, head inspector of the local education authority. And now a big round of applause to all guests present. And again, the next part of the procedure. I would like to warmly welcome His Excellency Cardinal Dr. Habilitated Grzegorz Ryś, Metropolitan Archbishop of Łódź, Senior Brigadier Piotr Jóźwiak, Commander of the Municipal Fire Brigade in Łódź, and Major Przemysław Szkudlarek, Deputy Commander of Border Guards in Łódź. I also welcome Naria Krzyta, representing the Department of Education in Opoczno. I would also like to welcome Rafał Haume, the Honorary Consulate of Armenia, Professor Krzysztof Skotnicki, the Honorary Consul of the Czech Republic in Łódź, Monika Namysłowska, the Honorary Consul of the Federal Republic of Germany in Łódź, Professor Wojciech Wolf, the Honorary Consul of the Great Duchy of Luxembourg, Deputy President of the Łódź Scientific Society and member of our University Board. And I would also like to welcome the reviewer in Doctor Honoris Causa awarding proceedings, Professor Rafał Matera, Rector of the University of Łódź. I welcome cordially Professor Elżbieta Aleksandrowicz, Rector of the Grażyna and Kęstuś Bacewicz University of Music in Łódź. Professor Janusz Piekarski, Rector of the Medical University of Łódź. Professor Elżbieta Dulle-Dwosińska, Rector of the University of Humanities and Economics in Łódź. Professor Olga Podfilipska-Krysińska, Deputy Rector for Development and Cooperation of the Strzemińskiej Academy of Fine Arts in Łódź. Professor Piotr Ślusarz, Vice Rector for Studies, Poznań University of Life Sciences, and Michał Ledwosiński, Deputy Dean for Courses Taught in English at the University of Humanities and Economics in Łódź. And now a big round of applause. I also welcome Dr. Honoris Causa of the University of Technology, Professor Jacek Moll and Mr. Matyszewski. I also wish to extend words of welcome to Professor Andrzej Bartoszewicz, President of the Łódź branch of the Polish Academy of Science, Hubert Cichocki, President of the Łukasiewicz Research Network, Jerzy Kaczmarek, Deputy President of the Regional Fund for Environmental Protection and Water Management in Łódź, Professor Iwona Friedrich, the Deputy President of the Cotton Chamber in Gdynia. I'd like to welcome Marek Szymański, Director of the Regional Examination Board in Łódź. I'm very happy to have here with us our former actors of our university, Professor Stanisław Bielecki and Professor Sławomir Wiak. A warm welcome to you, professors. I also welcome representatives of the industry, Anna Kędziora-Szwagrzak, President of Board, Director General of Veolia Energy Company, Grzegorz Dybus, President of Board of Miranda, Tomasz Sadzyński, President of Board of the Łódź Special Economic Zone, Małgorzata and Sławomir Witkowski, CEOs of Witko Group, Bartłomiej Zgorzelski, the founder and CEO of Project Construction Management Office, member of the board of our university, Beata Haik, Deputy President of Board of Łódź Bridge Building Company, Dr. Anna Ślęzak, Director of PGE Distribution, Józef Szmich, representing Delia Cosmetics Company, Marek Krzciuk, Editor-in-Chief of the local daily newspaper, Barbara Mrozińska-Badura, President of Board of Toya Television. And ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to address words of welcome to all guests, especially to the collaborators of Madam President Roberta Metsola. I also warmly welcome the staff and students of our university and all who follow the ceremony on live streaming on the website of the Łódź University of Technology. I'd like to welcome you all once again. Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Roberta Metsola, who has joined the community of holders of Dr. Honoris Causa title of the Łódź University of Technology, is an exceptionally inspiring person. She is one of the most prominent women politicians of our time, the President of the European Parliament, extremely committed to work for the idea of community, engaged in promoting respect for the rule of law, human rights, and the deepening of the European integration. By awarding the highest academic distinction to Mrs. Roberta Metsola, we want to honor her attitude. At the time of upheaval and conflict around the world, we badly need advocates of unity and enthusiasts for the European Union. Ladies and gentlemen, honorable guests, we will now proceed with the ceremony, which, according to the tradition, will be conducted by the Vice Rector for Academic Affairs, Professor Łukasz Albrecht. Rector, the floor is yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, Your Magnificence, members of the Senate, on the 23rd of April 2025, the Senate of the Technical University of Łódź passed a resolution to confer an honorary doctorate to the President of the European Parliament, Ms. Roberta Metsola. The Senate appointed the Magnificence Rector, Professor Krzysztof Jóźwik, as the promoter. Resolutions supporting our initiative were passed by two universities. The Adam Mickiewicz University in Poznań, based on a review by the university's rector, Her Magnificence Professor Bogumiła Kaniewska, and the University of Łódź, based on the opinion of the rector of the University of Łódź, His Magnificency Professor Rafał Matera. Now I would like to ask the thesis supervisor, Krzysztof Jóźwik, to deliver a laudation dedicated to the President of the European Parliament, Ms. Roberta Metsola. The floor is yours. Thank you very much. You haven't heard me for quite some time. Members of the Senate, distinguished guests, Ms. Roberta Metsola, a Maltese lawyer President of the European Parliament, advocate of unity, and enthusiast of the European Union, is one of the most prominent contemporary female politicians. Her attitude and objectively earned achievements are worthy of the honorary doctorate. This form of recognition also refers to the candidate's life stance, which, as the community of Łódź University of Technology, we have the honor to acknowledge. The decision to award Ms. Roberta Metsola the honorary doctorate of Łódź University of Technology was made unanimously by the Senate and also met with the approval of the reviewers. They included Professor Bogumiła Kaniewska, Chair of the Conference of Rectors of Academic Schools in Poland and Rector of the Adam Mickiewicz University in Poznań, as well as Professor Rafał Matera, Rector of the University of Łódź. Both reviewers emphasized Roberta Metzola's extraordinary contribution to strengthening the European community. They also recognized the importance of such an attitude in the face of the challenges of the modern world torn by war, increasing Eurosceptic activity, violation of human rights, and leadership and economic crisis. Both reviewers emphasized the ideas behind a united Europe, which are fundamental for the academic milieus. While highlighting the exceptional importance of the attitude of its leaders, they appreciate the courage and political sensitivity of the President of the European Parliament. Roberta Metsola was born in Malta in 1979, where she completed her law studies at the University of Malta. She also graduated from the College of Europe in Brugge. Her ambition and commitment were reflected, for instance, in her work as Secretary General of the European Democrat Students Association based in Brussels. With the accession of the smallest country to the community, the candidate began working at Malta's permanent representation to the European Union. She subsequently served as attaché for legal and judicial cooperation, head of the Justice and Home Affairs Department until 2012, and legal advisor to Catherine Ashton in the team of the High Representative of the European Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy. Further key experiences resulted from her mandate as a member of the European Parliament of the 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th terms of office, and then as the first Vice President and President of the European Parliament. It is worth emphasizing that Roberta Metsola was the youngest person working in this position, importantly not by nomination, by the election of the members of the European Parliament. Upon assuming the leadership, she said, "I want people to regain faith and enthusiasm for our project." Dear Europeans, the upcoming years will see people in Europe expecting leadership and direction from our institution, while others will continue to test the boundaries of our democratic values and European principles. We must stand up to the anti-EU narrative, which is so easily and quickly gaining strength. Disinformation and misinformation intensified during the pandemic fuel easy cynicism and cheap solutions such as nationalism, authoritarianism, protectionism, and isolationism. These words are very relevant these days. The geopolitical context, especially Russia's aggression against Ukraine, as well as internal conflicts and problems of member states, show the importance of strong and coherent leadership. It now is the time when we need non-conformity, dialogue, openness, peace and unity. Roberta Metsola embodies these values. She has clearly and firmly sided with Ukraine, and her friendly relations with the Ukrainians have resulted in being awarded the Order of Merit First Class in 2024 and the Order of Princess Olga First Class in 2022. The fundamental issues such as democracy, freedom, and respect for human rights remain the challenges that Europe is facing. In this context, Roberta Metsola directs her attention to Belarus, for which she received in 2023 the Cross of Good Neighborhood from the United Transitional Cabinet of Belarus. The President has also been honored by the University of Lisbon and Taras Shevchenko National University of Kiev with the honorary doctorates, the Grand Cross of the Order of the Grand Duke of Lithuania Gediminas, the King David Award, and the Forum Europa 2024 award granted by the New Economy Forum. Social engagement and an ambitious political career successfully combined with family life make our candidate an inspiration. Roberta Metsola is the mother of 4 sons. She enjoys cooking and experimenting with dishes representing global cuisine, and this is what we have in common. She loves reading, and when she was asked about the most important book in her life, she indicated Long Walk to Freedom by Nelson Mandela. I would like to end my laudation with a quote from this book. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. Dear Dr. Honoris Causa, the title and distinction awarded to you today is an expression of our appreciation for your courage and exceptional contributions to building solidarity, unity, and community in Europe. We are proud that you are joining the group of honorary doctors during the celebrations of the 80th Jubilee of the Łódź University of Technology. By accepting this distinction, you become part of the academic community of our university. Roberta Metsola has already had lots in common with us because her sister studied under Erasmus at the Łódź University of Technology. Mechanical engineering, that's me. It's an honor for us that she, as the first university in Poland, we are honoring you with the highest academic distinction, especially at the conclusion of the Polish presidency of the Council of the European Union. The special recognition for your efforts to foster a community in Europe is so crucial today, will serve as further proof that we are united by common values with the future of subsequent generations in mind. Congratulations and thank you very much.
Thank you, Rector, for presenting the profile of our Dr. Honoris Causa and presenting Madam President as an outstanding example of a charismatic, effective, admirable and trusted politician and person. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now proceeding with the ceremony of awarding the title and dignity of Dr. Honoris Causa of the Łódź University of Technology to Roberta Metsola, President of the European Parliament. Could you all raise, please? Rector, I would like to ask you to read out the text of the diploma, which, as is academic custom, is in Latin and in Polish.
Na mocy ustawy poproszę o włączenie mikrofonu. Dziękuję.
Pursuant to the Act of the Republic of Poland, I, Rector and Promoter Krzysztof Jóźwik, Professor of Mechanical Engineering, on behalf of the Senate of the Łódź University of Technology, award Roberta Metsola, the President of the European Parliament, the institution acting for fostering European values, a lawyer, in recognition of her exceptional achievements for European integration, unity, and acting for peace in Europe, and courage for supporting Ukraine, the title, dignity, and rights of the Dr. Honoris Causa. And this diploma is confirmed with a stamp, Łódź, on the 20th of June 2025, signed Krzysztof Jóźwik, Rector of the Łódź University of Technology and the promoter of the proceedings.
Quod felix Faustum fortunatum sit. Summis auspiciis serenissime rei publice Polonorum eiusque legibus, nos, Christophorus Jóźwik, machinalis scientiae professor, hoc tempore scientiarum technicarum scholae Lodziensis rector magnificus, simulque promotor rite constitutus, scientiarum technicarum scholae Lodziensis senatus auctoritate, in mulierem illustrissimam Robertam Metsola, Parlamenti Europei presidem, jurisperitam, in instituta Europea corroboranda, inque populorum auctoritatem tuendam summa ope ac studio nitentem. De populorum auctoritate respicienda, legum regiminumque integritate augenda, unitate nec non securitate Europea firmanda, benemeritam. Ukrainensium cause indefessam patronam. Doctoris Honoris Causa, nomen et dignitatem, iura et privilegia contulimus. Cuius in rei fidem hoc diploma sigillo sanciendum curavimus. Datum Lodzie, ante diem 12 calendas Julias, anno bismillesimo vicesimo quinto. Christophorus Jóźwik, rector magnificus, promotor rite constitutus.
Dear President, on behalf of the Senate of the Lodz University of Technology, I have a great honor of awarding you, Roberta Metsola, a title and dignity of a Doctor Honoris Causa of our university.
Doktora honoris causa naszej Politechniki Łódzkiej.
It is proved by the diploma. Congratulations for you. And also to remind you, it is the building when I am standing at new office.
Thank you, Rector. Now I would like to invite the choir of the Łódź University of Technology to sing Gaude Mater Polonia. Thank you, and I would like to ask His Magnificence Rector to take over chairing the subsequent parts of the ceremony. Thank you very much. Please take your seats. Please be seated. Thank you very much, Rector. Ladies and gentlemen, we have received many letters of congratulations which will be shown on the screens. Among them, there is an address from Professor Jerzy Buzek, the former president of the European Parliament and Dr. Honoris Causa of the Łódź University of Technology. We have received it from Senator Krzysztof Kwiatkowski. We are proud that on the occasion of today's ceremony, these congratulations and so many congratulations and wishes have been sent to our university, representing a big group of our supporters. I would like to read out the address from the Minister for European Integration, Adam Szłapka. It will just be an excerpt from this address. I would like to express my highest appreciation for the Łódź University of Technology, which in a very special way commemorates the 80 years of its history. The awarding of Doctorate Honoris Causa to Roberta Metsola is a wonderful expression of appreciation for her contribution to European integration. Please accept my warmest wishes and wishes of success in your educational activity. Signed by Minister for European Integration, Adam Szłapka. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Dariusz Joński, the member of European Parliament, to take the floor. The floor is yours. Madam President, Rector, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really deeply moved. This is my comeback to my alma mater, my university, the Łódź University of Technology, the place which I keep dearly in my heart. I grew up here. I also became a citizen when studying at this university. I'm very proud of my background, and I would like to congratulate Rector Professor Krzysztof Jóźwik because you have succeeded in building a big community of people. Even looking at the names of laureates of honorary doctorate is really impressive. These are people renowned across the world, and I'm very happy that I can be here as a part of this community. But today is a very important day, not only for our city, Łódź, but also for the whole region and for Poland, because the honorary doctorate has been awarded today to a person of great authority. And I'm saying that as an MEP who can observe the work of President Metsola on everyday basis. It's really the appreciation of her courage, consistency, and her service for European values. She is our European guardian of values, and for that I would like to thank you very much. But it's also a sign of something more. The presence of the President of the European Parliament in Łódź, in the heart of Poland, is a testimony that Poland has regained its rightful place in Europe and in the world. We want to be close to Europe, and Europe wants to be close to Poland. This is a very important moment, a moment when trust is being restored and when we want to cooperate in these difficult times.
Today, as you receive this prestigious title, we say it not only a tribute to your personal achievement, but also a symbol of stronger, united Europe, especially on the day when Poland is finishing European presidency, which was a grant even for all of us, and of course, which are extremely proud. Your leadership, your voice, your courage inspire respect across our continent. I would like to thank you very much that you standing with Poland and you standing up the value we believe in, not only in this room, but all the Europe. Thank you, Metsola. Congratulations.
Thank you very much for these beautiful words. I just want to add one thing.
Mr. Joński. He said that we are in the center of Poland. I have to explain that if we join the points of Europe by the circle, the center will be in Poland. And if we join the points of Poland, the center will be in Łódź. And if we join the points of Łódź, the center will be at the Lodz University of Technology. So you know. Bardzo serdecznie.
I'd like to invite the governor of the Łódź region, Roberta, to take the floor. Madam President, Rector, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure that it is in Łódź where you are receiving the title of the honorary doctorate, and I'm deeply convinced that the Łódź University of Technology, together with its rector, His Magnificence. Okay. Magnificence, yes. I had to correct my words, but I'm very happy that it all happens in Łódź. We are Euro enthusiasts, and that's obvious. Poland has been the member state of the European Union for 21 years already, and we have benefited from it a lot. We all see it. We can see how many investment projects have been delivered over this time. And of course, programs and schemes like Erasmus, for example, this is something that we can benefit from as proud Europeans, members of the European community. And I'm also deeply convinced that this is the feeling shared by the majority of our population, because almost 80% of our population are continuously in favor of our membership in the EU. So I'm very happy that you are here with us as the host of this region, that I can welcome you here and congratulate you on the achievements. Thank you. Well, the community of our university, I'd like to tell you that probably I'll be promoted. Thank you, Governor. Now I'd like to give the floor to Małgorzata Moskwa-Wodnicka, Deputy Mayor of the city of Łódź.
Madam President, Rector, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor for me to participate in the ceremony of awarding the title of Dr. Honoris Causa to one of the most prominent female politicians of modern times. For me, as a woman, it's a great honor that I can meet you today. Ladies and gentlemen, let me congratulate and thank Ms. Roberta Metsola, for her engagement in the human rights defense, women's rights defense, in her engagement in the affairs related to social justice, gender equality, and social protection. I would also like to thank you for your fight against discrimination. It's important for me because these values are vital for me on a daily basis as I am the deputy mayor of the city of Łódź. Today, we celebrate an important day for the Łódź University of Technology, the entire academic community, but also for the city and its inhabitants. For me personally, it's a historical moment, and so it is for the city, for the authorities, for the inhabitants who follow the broadcast. I am impressed as a person responsible for educating young people, how engaged you are and how strongly you support young people following your career path during your university times. You were working with student organizations. As the youngest president of the European Parliament in history, you give a signal and show openness to dialogue with younger generations. I am fully convinced that you are a role model for young female politicians and male politicians as well. I would like to thank you for your clear stance and support for the Ukrainian nation. It's pivotal for the safety of Europe and for global safety. I wish you lots of professional successes, and I wish you, as a mom, successes in your private life. And I hope the title you received today will inspire you in the future for international projects, and I am looking forward to your cooperation with the academic milieu, with the Łódź University of Technology, and with our unique city. Congratulations once again. Thank you very much. And in order to follow what the Deputy Mayor said, now I would like to give the floor to Małgorzata Grabarczyk, the chairwoman of the Łódź Voivodeship Assembly, to take the floor. Madam President, Rector, distinguished guests to the ceremony, I am honored to represent the Voivodeship Assembly of Łódź and Joanna Skrzydlewska, the Marshal. As you have noticed, females represent the authority in our region. We shape the politics and the brand of the Łódzkie region. That is why we are so happy that a woman is the president of the European Parliament, a woman whose vision of development and her strong rules are those that we share. We share the same vision and the same principles. Congratulations on being the president for the second term of office. This is testimony to the fact that the visions and the principles are welcomed and shared by your colleagues in the European Parliament. I can assure you that this is the vision we follow. We keep our fingers crossed, we follow you, we congratulate you, And today's event is especially important for us because the Łódź University of Technology, being among the best universities in Poland, has appreciated it and granted the accolade of Dr. Honoris Causa. On behalf of myself and the Voivodeship Assembly, as well as the Marshal, Joanna Skrzydlewska, I would like to congratulate you once again. Thank you. In order for the ceremony to be complete, I would like Roberta Metsola to take the floor.
For you.
Dear Rector, honourable members of the Senate, members of Parliament and of the European Parliament, representatives of governments and local authorities, distinguished guests, thank you. Dziękuję. It is truly... I have some more Polish to say, so then you can clap at the end, just in case. So it is truly a great honour for me to receive this honorary doctorate from Łódź University of Technology, a university born from the industrial past of this great city, today a driver of Europe's future. Thank you for being here on midsummer and the day after a holiday. Thank you, on a Friday. Łódź lived through the darkest chapters of our history and found a way back. This is a city that got back on its feet, where factories restarted and hope returned. A story not unlike Europe's very own. Our Europe was built by people who refused to settle for what was and dared to imagine what could be. By giants who managed to break the cycle of history and grasp peace and prosperity from the ashes of war. These are the ones who at every inflection point chose the hard path, the difficult road, the tough choice. Icons like Pope John Paul II, like Lech Wałęsa, and the heroes of Solidarność, who showed that courage and unity could change the course of history, who showed that resolve and moral clarity can beat back empires. These are the Europeans. These are the personification of the values of our project. They have bequeathed that legacy of Europe to all of us, and we must be found worthy of that honor. I stand here as the President of the European Parliament, as a member of the generation of European politicians being asked to lead in a world that too often feels like it is on fire. And we must be ready to make the hard choices. None of us were ready for what happened on the 24th of February 2022. When Russia invaded Ukraine, it was an attack on all of us, on our values, on the idea of sovereignty, of democracy, of freedom itself. Today, Ukrainians are holding the line against the brutal and unforgiving hand of tyranny, and their struggle is our struggle. The European Parliament acted fast. We led on critical support to Ukraine where it mattered most, and we continue to work tirelessly for a peace that is real, that is just, and that is lasting. We also face a new test in the Middle East, one that reminds us just how fragile peace can be. The situation there is deeply worrying for the region and for Europe too. 3 days ago, King Abdullah II of Jordan addressed us, and here I say this together with my colleagues, members of the European Parliament, in Strasbourg. And he said the following. He essentially reminded us this. We must recommit to our values, because when the world loses its moral bearings, our shared sense of right and wrong, of what is just and what is cruel. When that happens, conflict is never far behind. The world understands that Iran cannot have a nuclear bomb. That is a threat not only to the region, but the world. And what we have witnessed in Tel Aviv and in Tehran in recent days and its potential spillover effects, Europe's role is more vital than ever as we push for a conclusion and broad de-escalation. That is why we keep pushing for a ceasefire in Gaza, where human suffering remains heartbreaking, why we must keep insisting for the return of the hostages, for an end to the terror, for humanitarian aid to reach those who need it most, and for a perspective for legitimate Palestinian leadership and security for Israel. That is why in the next few days I will travel to the United Arab Emirates, because peace can only be built through trust, dialogue, and shared responsibility. And because ultimately it is in difficult days like these that people look to our European flag for clarity and for leadership. We can be the generation of politicians who break the cycle of history and find a real and lasting peace. And Europe knows that the best path to that is hope. Hope is the antidote to desperation. I want that to be Europe's legacy, because Europe has the power to change lives. I first felt that power growing up on an island in the southern Mediterranean, where Europe was not just a political project, but essentially it was a promise that borders could open, that opportunities could grow, that a young girl could have a voice in shaping something bigger than herself. And that belief is what first drew me into politics, and I carry it with me to this day. In Poland, too, you know that power. How Europe creates opportunities, how it protects freedom. You have lived it and you believe it. Today, Poland has flourished into one of Europe's greatest success stories. A vibrant democracy, a thriving economy, and a leading voice at the European table. And I want to thank you for your leadership during Poland's 6 months presidency of the Council of the European Union, which comes to a close in just a few days. You have shown that Europe can be a partner to business, that we can make things easier for the people whom we serve, that we can speak up for our values, especially when they are under threat. But let's be honest, across our Europe, people are feeling restless. They feel that they are not being heard, that change is too slow, that decisions are being made too far away from them. We must listen and we must show them that Europe delivers, not just on election day, but every day. That Europe is not Brussels or Strasbourg. It is about people, it's about students, families, workers, entrepreneurs in towns and cities like Łódź. Poland has always been a land of enterprise and innovation. Marie Skłodowska-Curie, still the only person to win 2 Nobel Prizes in 2 scientific fields, was one of your own. And I see that same spirit of discovery here. I see it in your lecture theaters, in your laboratories and your startups. But across Europe, too many of our best and brightest minds are leaving because they see better opportunities elsewhere. I am, as you were told, the mother of 4 boys. Just a couple of hours ago, he sat for his chemistry matura exam. He called me afterwards. I said, "How did you do?" He's like, "Well, hope not too badly. Let's see." He wants to be an engineer. He needs to pass his exams first. But I want him to find his future in Europe. I want him to grow here. I want him to build here, to discover, like all of you. And I know your parents of all students here want the same for you. The next industrial revolution is already here. And if we want to lead in an artificial intelligence, in a world dominated by artificial intelligence, in clean tech, in biotechnology, we must act now. And that means making Europe more attractive to investors, cutting red tape, unlocking the full potential of our single market, especially in sectors like energy and defense. Because most of all of this means investing in people. Because Europe's true strength is not what we make, but is what we know. Demand for highly skilled workers, especially in construction, manufacturing, and energy, is rising fast. These industries don't just need labor, they need deep technical expertise. Your university understands that. You are training the engineers, the scientists, and the architects of tomorrow's Europe. You are shaping the leaders who will drive our continent forward. I want to see a Europe where ideas born here in Łódź grow into the unicorns of tomorrow, where taking risks is part of the culture, where failure is not the end but the beginning of something new. A Europe built on simplicity and opportunity. But we cannot build that Europe without security. Without peace, there can be no prosperity. With Poland leading the way, defense spending is now up in every member state. And at the NATO summit in just a few days, next week, allies are set to work towards a new spending target of 5% of GDP. That matters, especially for a country like Poland on the NATO border. What we see is a Europe that against all these challenges is standing on its own 2 feet, confident in our own strength. A Europe that defends the values our great union was built on: freedom, dignity, and fairness. Our job, all of us who serve in public life, is to show that those values are not just words from our past, but promises for the future, to show that tomorrow can be better than today. I referred to King Abdullah's address to the European Parliament this week. I will go a little bit further, to 1988, when Pope John Paul II came to the European Parliament. And he said that the men and women in the chamber were the best safeguard of Europe's identity, liberty, and progress. That is our legacy. That is our responsibility. That is the standard that we must continue to live up to. From the factories of Łódź to the shipyards of Gdansk, from Madame Skłodowska-Curie's discoveries to Poland's triumph of democracy, you have shown what is possible when people believe in something that is bigger than themselves. That spirit is what Europe needs today. That hope to believe again, the power to reimagine, the courage to understand the power of the 3 words that shaped my generation. Nie lękajcie się. Be not afraid. That's our Europe. Dziękuję bardzo.
Dear President, thank you for pointing out that peace, freedom, dignity are the most important for European human beings. I do hope for all human beings in Europe. Thank you. Szanowni Państwo,
Ladies and gentlemen, slowly but surely we are coming to the end to this solemn and extremely pleasant ceremony for us. I would like to ask the choir to perform Gaudamus Igitur. And please rise.
Gaudamus igitur juvenentum sumus. Gaudamus igitur.
Senectutem nos habebit humus, nos habebit humus. Vivat Academia, vivat professores, vivat Academia, vivat professores, vivat membrum foliber, vivat membrum feliber, semper sit in flore, semper sit in flore.
Pięknie dziękuję.
Thank you. I would like to thank the Łódź University of Technology Choir, conducted by Magdalena Kościuszka, for the musical setting of this solemn seating of the Senate. We'll exercise the oath to join next week. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite you to the refreshments prepared in the foyer. I would like to encourage you to write in the memorial book displayed in the lobby. This will allow us to record this extremely important moment in the history of our university. Now, I would like to ask the color guards to leave the hall.